talking about pay you $300,000. What makes you so motherfucking better than any of the other sanctioned bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than...
Terence Crawford is done biting his tongue. The gloves are off, not in the ring, but against boxing's power brokers. Crawford has publicly torched the WBC for stripping Shakur Stevenson of his world title just days after a career-defining victory. And the reason? Shakur refused to pay what looks less like a fee and more like a $100,000 ransom. Crawford exposed the greed, the politics, and the double standards that have plagued boxing for decades. This isn't about sanctioning fees anymore. This is a full-blown war against the so-called alphabet boys. And Crawford is making it clear they picked the wrong team to bully.
Hey y'all, what's up, box fans? They didn't strip Shakur Stevenson. The WBC, boy, they ain't playing. They low down, boy. They didn't strip Shakur Stevenson of the 135-pound WBC title, y'all. Said due to, the fact of, homicide, Henry Armstrong, after he held belts at, I think, featherweight, 147 and middleweight, they made it a rule that a champion can't hold a belt simultaneously. If I was gonna say something about, I ain't saying that just to say it, but I didn't know if they could do that with a single belt or if it was just if they were undisputed. But apparently, the WBC, being low down, being petty, want to follow the rules and say, you can't simultaneously hold two belts or however many belts in different...
To understand how disrespectful this move was, you have to look at the timeline. Shakur Stevenson had just moved up to 140 pounds to face Teofimo Lopez in what many called a legacy fight. This wasn't just another title bout, it was the night Shakur evolved from a defensive genius into a global superstar. He executed a flawless game plan, dominated the ring, and walked out with the WBO belt. The celebrations hadn't even ended. The team hadn't even left the hotel lobby. And yet, the WBC had already dropped the hammer. Normally, champions are given a grace period after winning a title in a new weight class, time to decide whether to vacate or stay. Weeks, sometimes even a month. But Shakur got zero grace. The WBC instantly declared his lightweight title vacant. He claimed it was by the book, but the timing felt personal, like the press release was written before the opening bell even rang.
In the light of champion Stevenson now being the reigning WBO super lightweight world champion and consistent with the WBC rules and regulation, the WBC has declared vacant its lightweight world title. The WBC wishes champion Stevenson continued success in all his future endeavors, both inside and outside the ring. Now, here's the thing for me. Yes, I'm sure that it is in the ring. I mean, it is in the rules that that you cannot hold a championship between the WBC and another sanctioning body in two different weight classes. You can't do it. Also, you really can't hold belts in two different weight classes at the same time. That said, I still think that the WBC's move and not allowing Shakur Stevenson to make the decision as to what he's going to do is a little bit of a spit in the face, and it is not the first spit in the face that camp has had from the WBC recently. Because if you recall, Terence Bud Crawford was the WBC champion after he beat Canelo Alvarez for the WBC belt, and they got into a scrum about the sanctioning fees. And right there, they said, nope, if you say you're not paying these fees, we're taking your belt. And they stripped Terence Crawford for not.
This is where things turned ugly. Shakur Stevenson didn't just lose a belt, he exposed what looked like a straight-up shakedown. The WBC reportedly demanded $100,000 in sanctioning fees from Shakur. Here's the insane part, the WBC title wasn't even on the line for the Teofimo Lopez fight. They wanted six figures from his purse for a fight they had absolutely nothing to do with. Shakur wasn't having it. He went straight to social media, calling them crooks and making it clear he wasn't playing their game. In a viral post, he asked a question that shook the sport. What the hell am I giving y'all $100,000 for? WBC had nothing to do with this fight. It's a fair question. In what other business can you demand a massive cut when you provided zero service?
This is the WBC championship. They could have given people an opportunity to hold that belt. For example, they could have had an opportunity for him to hold that belt and given him an opportunity to say what he was going to do, as far as wants staying at 140 or 135. That said, Shakur Stevenson has been saying that he wanted to move back down to 135 after he won the 140-pound title. He said he was planning on staying, made public statements that he was going to be staying at the weight class. But it is what it is now that he's been stripped. So, the options just got a lot more thin from Shakur. So he's going to have to hold on to that WBO belt at 140 pounds and start doing work with guys in the 140-pound,
What really turned the fans to Shakur's side was the emotion behind his response. He mentioned his daughter, Leilani, saying he would rather give that money to his baby girl than hand it over to a suit sitting in Mexico City. That single line exposed how broken the sanctioning fee system has become. And make no mistake, Shakur says this isn't really about him. He believes he's collateral damage in a much bigger war. According to Shakur, the real target is Terence Crawford. In another post, he claimed, "All got beef with Bud, so you coming at me?" That's a massive accusation. He's suggesting the WBC is acting on personal grudges, not sporting merit. And when you look at the history, it's hard to ignore the pattern. Crawford and Shakur are brothers. They train together, they move together, and apparently, they get punished together. The message from the WBC seems clear: defy us, and we erase you.
Shakur Stevenson made it abundantly clear that he's a 135-pounder. He's going up in weight just for situational fights. He just defeated 2-division world champion, former unified lightweight, and now former WBO junior welterweight superstar Teofimo Lopez in dominating fashion. He's now 22 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 13 wins by way of knockout. After a beautiful performance, a dominating performance, the WBC, in a rush to do nothing, can't give this dude a week to make a decision on what he wants to do next. This dude, Shakur, has told the world, I'm 135 pounds. I plan on competing at 135 unless there's a situation that presents itself. You got Lamont Roach, who you elevated to the number 2 fighter in the WBC at 135. Right? Shakur says yesterday, I'm willing to fight Lamont Roach. We're going to make it happen. Right? Not once did Shakur say that he's staying at 140 pounds.
To understand why the WBC is still angry, we have to rewind to December 2025, the moment everything changed. Terence Crawford shocked the world by defeating Canelo Alvarez in the biggest money fight of the decade. As expected, the WBC wanted their cut millions in sanctioning fees for the super middleweight title. Crawford looked at the number and said no. At that point in his career, he understood the truth. The man makes the belt doesn't make the man. WBC responded by stripping him of his undisputed status just days before he announced his retirement. It was a petty move meant to tarnish his legacy, but it backfired. Instead of looking bitter, Crawford looked like a rebel who stood up to the system. Now, it appears that unfinished business is being taken out on the next man up, Shakur Stevenson.
I see Mauricio, got a lot to say about me not paying him $300,000 plus another $100K something for sanction fees, right? They ain't gonna tell me I ain't even apologize. Like, who the f you think I am? Boy, you better slap your self and paying your ass. You talking about pay you $300,000? What makes you so better than any other sanctioned bodies? Huh? Answer that question. What makes you better than the WBO, the IBF, or the WBA? Everybody accepted what I was giving them. But you, the WBC, think that you better than everybody, don't you? So since you, the WBC, and you got the green belt, which don't mean real belt is the ring belt, which is free. What are you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanction bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanction bodies agreed to the same amount, but you sit your ass up there and say that I need to apologize to you? You can take the belt.